terms of the occasion, just beyond our wildest dreams, just to get to Wembley was amazing. I'm sure Chris will say the same. Of course, Spennymoor did get there 12 years ago and they won the FA Vase, so they knew what it was like to go there and they knew what it was like to win. But nobody that supports Aldershot has any depth of experience of that because it's never happened. 99 years old club, new club. And I think we've all been blown away by just how much support we had. We sold over 18,000 tickets. I've not seen an official number. There was quite a few in neutral zones as well. So it may have been closer to 20,000. The overall crowd was 38,600 for the day, which is wonderful. The sun was out. Everything went so well. The atmosphere outside was really good with the Spennymoor fans. I had a lot of conversations down Wembley Way with supporters of both sides, and I was very much taking the line. I got my head around the fact that we're here, we're going to enjoy this occasion, and it's down to the players and management to try and win that game of football. But I was not going to let it affect me whether we won or lost. And I don't know if Chris, who's obviously listening, got himself in a similar vein of mind. I don't know. Spennymoor negated Aldershot really well in the first half. I think it was poor, the first half as a spectacle. Yeah. It wasn't. I'd say 2 weak shots on target each. That was it. But the game came alive for Aldershot 3 minutes into the second half. James Henry getting down the right. Jack Barham just getting in the right place at the right time. I think the ball as much hit him as he hit it. I know Ben's a big fan of Super Jack. And he's a big fan of doing things on the big occasion. He got the hat trick against Swindon in the 7-4 in the FA Cup last year, and he scored a wonderful goal against Bradford City in the FA Cup this year. Dan Ellison, who's on loan from Bristol Rovers, he's been with us half the season. He scored finally his first goal for us, and what a place to get your first goal. It doesn't get much better. Those three centre-backs for Aldershot are, I think, 19, 20 and 21. They're all on loan. They don't have an experienced player around them. They've had to do it themselves, which is why they've been on the end of a few lessons in recent weeks, but they kept a clean sheet on the day. And then Josh Barrett put the cherry on the ice.
Love that guy.
With his 19th goal of the season. And huge credit to Kwame Thomas, by the way, for an absolutely gigantic leap to head the ball in his path. He told me last night, Kwame, that he heard Josh run into the left of him and shout for it, and he just got up, won it, and then it sat beautifully for Josh. But you've still got to finish it, haven't you? And it's just every time you see the goal, it looks better and better.
It does. I was just going to say that. Like, I saw it and it was one of the moments where I kept watching it like, wow. Like, to do that goal anyway, but to do it at Wembley as well, it was like, wow. And just seeing, like, all the fans, it was amazing.
It was just, it was almost a little bit surreal. I loved being able to commentate on the game for the BBC. I just felt a bit trapped at the end once the full-time whistle had gone.
Yes.
Normally I'd round up my commentary and I'd get pitch side with my phone, but we had a team of people there and that wasn't my role yesterday. So that was difficult. The 20, 30 minutes after, I wanted to run round, jump, scream. I wanted to flail my shirt around my head like Theo Widgerton was doing. I did feel a lot for Spennymoor. Everybody says the same thing. It's lovely to get to Wembley, but it's not a place to lose. It's a lovely place to win. My heart goes out to Ryan for losing his father, and I love the stories in the build-up. One that didn't come off on the day was Glenn Taylor's 35th birthday. Over 200 goals in 300 games. But the plight of the managers, Tommy with his own health and the strokes, and coming back to lead his team out at Wembley, that's a brilliant story. And Graham Lee saying that anything he did and his team did wouldn't even match up to what his wife does day in, day out, just to still be around with a rare type of brain cancer. So there was some lovely stories around it. As far as I know, good feeling before the game, after the game, no trouble. It was Aldershot's day, and maybe another year it'll be Spennymoor's.
Love that. Chris, as well, if you are in the chat and want to send in your views on it, please do. Ben, did you catch any of the game? Oh yeah, Lee were there as well.
Yeah. I was there for both games. Yeah, I sort of agree with Rob. Like, the first half was, Spennymoor really sort of honed in on Aldershot the first half. And I think come the second half, I think Aldershot sort of might have had a bit of a talking to, and then they came out, and as soon as it kicked off, it was all Aldershot.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch much of it. Yes, I mean, well, first things first, I wanted to say congratulations to Whitstable Town on winning the FA Vase because for ex-player Jamie Coyle, legend at the club for us, and a few of our ex-players, Nathan Jekke, Joe Healy, Will Thomas, great for all the ex-Maidstone players to win that. First Kent side to do it in 25 years, so really pleased for them. But yeah, for Aldershot, look, I think they needed that, to be honest. I think obviously it'd been building up, from the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season where form had started to dip, and they've got their rise at Wembley. Their players probably didn't want to get injured, which you could totally understand. But I saw the goal.
Out of contract as well, Ben. Only 7 contracted for next season. So
yeah, exactly. Wow. So that's the thing. You feel like some of them might be their last game in that they might get a play for Aldershot. And what better way to do it, at Wembley and win under the Wembley Arch as well. And obviously, my love for Jack Barham is quite clear. Like, I'm really pleased for him. It's funny because his last kick of a football at Maidstone was a penalty miss and knocked us out the FA Trophy against Barnet a couple of years ago in the quarter-final stage. And then obviously he's come up and scores, the opening goal at Wembley. But so pleased for him, from where he's come from, from the lower ranks of non-league all the way up sort of to the top. We all knew he was capable of it. And, to do that in front of like a massive following, to be fair, I must say fair credit to the amount of Aldershot fans that went. I know it's the first time they've been to Wembley, but that following was absolutely fantastic. And brilliant for, for non-league, because that's the thing. 38,000, obviously, I know includes all the, ones from the Vase final as well. But again, it just shows that non-league is right on the up at the moment, and everyone does take into finals day. But again, like I say, Dan Ellis as well, getting a headed goal. I know a few Chippenham people that we're really gracious of that, because obviously spent a bit of time there, and then obviously Josh Barrett scoring a hell of a third goal, and that that's a dream come true for to score a goal like that in any game, but in a cup final, it's absolutely brilliant. So no, absolutely fair credit to Rob and everyone at Aldershot, because that they fully deserved it, and after what's been a fairly up and down season for them, they can finish it the best way possible, and those players that go away on holiday or whether they stay on next season, they can enjoy their summer now, which is brilliant for them.
That's a really good point, Ben. Just sorry, Charles. Just really
30
seconds. Just want to embellish that. They did need it as a club, as a supporter base. They really needed it, because Aldershot is one of those teams that has gone bust and started again, and they got the 5 promotions in 17 years, and they became a football league club, and it only lasted for 5 years, and they've been now the longest serving team in the National League. So you'd speak to anybody who's the age of 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. The one remaining dream they had was to get to Wembley. They'd been a football league club. They got back to the football league. We may or may not ever get back there again, but it was Wembley. It was everybody's bucket list item. And now we've ticked it off. That's it.
I love that. Just quickly going to the chat, obviously, Chris put on Sunday, I was actually pitch side at Wembley Stadium. That was freaking unbelievable, and I kept pinching myself that I was so close to the pitch seeing my team play for the second time. I love that. I love those moments. Morgan, did you catch any of the game?
Yeah, I did. Watch the FA Trophy final, and I agree with what people said. The first half was a little close. Obviously, Rob Ramshaw should have finished that chance. That counter attack for him, Spennymoor, it was a really good one. Obviously, flicked it past his man in the first half on the breakaway. He should have finished that. I was saying to my dad who I was watching with, either you put it in the corner and the keeper don't get that, or you just hit it with some power. It goes straight above the keeper. It's 1-0, and it completely changes the game. It was a great counter-attack, and it wasn't a great first half. It was pretty even. That was the chance for Spennymoor. That should have been it. And then, as you said, the second half, they just came out really quickly. Ollie Dyson, I know Chris just mentioned him in the chat, loved by York fans when he was here, loved by Spennymoor fans, just beaten at the back post. And Ollie Dyson's a bit of a weird one, because when he was at York, he was played at centre mid for a bit. He was played at right back, right wing. He was played everywhere because he always gave 100% effort. And you could tell he wasn't the most technically gifted, and you could kind of see that with that goal. He lost his man at the back post, and Barham took it well, but as Rob said, it kind of hit him as much as he hit it. It wasn't the best defended. And I do feel sorry for Ollie Dyson because he's a young lad. He got promoted with Barrow. He came through the Huddersfield Academy. He's kind of struggled with York. Obviously loaned out when we're then flying, and you could tell he's not good enough to be in this York squad. So I do really feel sorry for Ollie Dyson. But Aldershot, that second half was just really professional. The header for the second goal and that Josh Barrett goal. Wow. I know every time you watch it, it looks better. I don't think anyone hits a ball better than that at Wembley.
No.
Like, it falls to him. And the header by Kwame was excellent. But the way it falls to him, he strikes it so perfectly. That's dipping. No keeper's touching that. He's a full stretch and it just dips over him. It's like you're not going near it. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. And with it being so late on, it's the icing on the cake. And you just as a Spennymoor fan, you just kind of shrug at that point. It's like, if that's how we're going to lose it, that's how you're going to lose it. It was a brilliant, brilliant goal. I know Ben, you also touched on the FA Vars final. I don't know if anyone saw the winner in that game. That was a really good finish too, from Sitola, I think it was. Just, he did well, and then it came to him, just left it into the top corner. It was a final settled really by two excellent goals. So yeah, it was a great day out for non-league. 38,000 there, good crowd. I don't think the Wembley camera did it the best angle. I don't know if anyone else watching on TV, but you can see large amounts of open space, and it just on the TV it doesn't look great. If they panned it another way, you could see the 18,000 Aldershot fans plus then everyone else that was there. I don't think TNT did it justice. I think the fans obviously did, but I don't think the TV camera did it justice. It looked great, but at the same time it could have been done better.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because like the camera angle actually was quite similar to I think they had when they first opened Wembley. Because I'm pretty sure I remember when we started watching international games and FA Cup finals, it was quite like I said the level that we was at yesterday. So no idea why it wasn't lower like it usually is, and that's the thing. I think you're right. I think watching the coverage, obviously, I know that the TNT haven't got the rights to the National League anymore, and it's quite. But you'd think they've got presenters for it as well, because it seems a bit unfair to probably just put it on the commentators to do. It seemed a bit amateurish a little bit to me, and like I say, it's a bit unfair, on those teams that have got you look in previous years that they've been given the coverage and everything, the previews and stuff, and as soon as we got to the game, it was like just a quick 5 minutes on each team, and then suddenly game on. It's just, I think the coverage was a little bit of a letdown, if I'm being totally honest, and I feel a bit for the supporters of all the clubs, to be honest.
Just one thing, and I agree with all of that, by the way, but and I'm not trying to balance this for the sake of it, but I'm just going to say this in defense of TNT. As far as I know, with less than a week to go to this game, it was not due to be on TV. They took it late. They took a late option. I think it wasn't being covered. And so I think I don't think there was a lot of time to prepare, maybe to get all the resource behind it that they might have done otherwise. So, and they did get Aaron McLean, who's perfect for it.
I love Aaron McLean.
And so I think I didn't personally know, I hadn't come across the commentator, Oliver, I think his name was before. But yeah, I just think if we're discussing that point and it's all valid what you've said, Ben, I think we just need to say that they didn't have a lot of time to plan this. But the camera angle was good. Probably people didn't realise that the two smaller clubs that had their final, the FA Vars final earlier, the reality is 80% of those supporters will go either because they just want to get out of there because they lost, or they want to get down the pub and celebrate because they won, So yeah, maybe some more thought could be given to that on another occasion.